Hey there, it's Rebekah R. Jones, and I want to talk to you about one of the number one mistakes I see colored pencilists making in their journaling Bible. Have you got any idea what that might be? Stay tuned, let's get right into it. I'm going to use Bristol board. It's just one of the papers that handles colored pencil really well, so you can see how this works. So I'm going to choose this violet colored pencil here. And what I see a lot of people do is they just bashfully apply a thin, beautiful layer. And what happens is it's just so thin. And then they say, I don't really have vibrant color. It's just not that nice when I do colored pencil. Now, there is something in colored pencil artwork called burnishing, and that's when we add more colors and we begin to pack the color into the paper. And we have to use some care because with Bible paper, it's a lot thinner and there's nowhere to kind of pack it in like you would on a paper like this. But I want to show you what happens. So we've got this nice thin layer here, but as I add a second layer, the color really bumps up. You can tell it's improving greatly. I'm gonna keep adding that second layer here. So you can see this is really nice second layer. Now I'm gonna add a third layer here. I'm just pushing a little harder. And you can see just straight away, we've got three variations of color here. This one is hardly noticeable. This is kind of a medium color where you can still see through, and this is really starting to show how vibrant this colored pencil can be. And I'm applying the same amount of pressure all through here. Again, I will do the same thing again. I'm barely pushing really. I'm gonna just make this go a little bit further. Now I'm going to add a second layer, and I'm barely applying just a tiny bit extra pressure each time. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit more pressure this time. And it's because I'm dragging across a colored pencil surface that's already been colored penciled, it needs a little bit extra pressure to get it to glide across. Now I'm going to go in for a fourth layer. And what happens is eventually, as we go about doing this, you're going to completely cover. Now this is an opaque product. It's not a transparent product, which means that in time it's going to completely cover the paper and you're not going to see the white through the paper. And that is meaning that you're not going to see the text in the Bible as you go. So you need to decide how many layers you want to go so that you don't cover your text. And eventually what happens is the paper stops receiving the color. It just feels as though it's reached its maximum capacity of what it can hold on the surface of that paper. And what happens is it does something called a wax bloom. And essentially, this is so packed with wax here that you can see it's actually making little crumbs appear here. Now you may just have crumbs because you applied too thickly to begin with, but you might just be hitting a wax bloom where basically the paper is completely full, it won't take anything else, and it's because the wax has completely saturated that paper and you've reached a point of, you've burnished it straight into the surface of the paper, and that's actually a desirable thing in colored pencil artwork, to actually get to a point where you've totally covered. And I think colored pencil is ideal for the margin of Bible paper. Then you don't have to worry about covering your text and you can get that kind of richness of color. But you're going to reach a wax bloom quicker on just blank paper. If you page prepped, you would get more capacity for your surface to take more color. So you can keep that in mind. But eventually you're going to reach this color here, and you could use this here. Let me grab one that's already sharpened. This is the Colorless Blender. And when you go back over this, I can see I've got some red on there that I want to get off so I don't add red to my purple. Now I can go back over here and just blend this all in and make it nice and smooth. And that is the way in which you can blend these colors together. But as you can see, this Colorless Blender does very little at the beginning here with these shorter, very thin layers. As you add color, there's more to work with. And you can take these little colors of crumbs that are appearing that may drag onto another surface, and you can just cram them right in with this Colorless Blender and put them to work adding pigment to your surface. And when you're happy, then you can give it a nice blow to get all the crumbs off. And that is how you want to apply your colored pencil to your Bible page. If you found this helpful, then please do comment below and give it a thumbs up so that YouTube knows to share this content with others who may find it useful. And if you want to get any of these supplies, then pop into the description below. I'll link the part of my supplies guide that shares all of this info with you. And I am looking forward to seeing you over in my Facebook group, what you've been creating as you follow along with what this ministry has to offer. I'll see you soon.